Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little.
Tell me about the story where you and Pac apparently did some rioting together during the LA riots.
Yeah, same thing, bro. Same exact thing. Lynch my Ice Cube, lynch my Digital Underground Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, Digital Underground and Cube was already cracking at the time. So it was basically, so when we went on the road, it was like, okay, Cube was like, okay, these is my young homies. Well, not young like his kids, but these is my homies that's going to come up under me. And Digital Underground was like, well, this is my homie that's going to come up under us, which was Pac. So that's how me and Pac joined forces. You know, so we was considered the young guns of that time, of that era. Even after Lynch Mob, you know what I'm saying, I was considered that young gun. So me and Pac just formed a relationship, bro. Like, we used to do shit man, where I wish I could create a movie so people could understand, like, Pac was a spitter, homie. Like Pac would make great songs, but if you really wanted to know Pac and really trip off what Pac his head was at, he was a spitter, bro. Like he rapped his ass off. Like that's what he did. But he understood the business, so he dumbed it down to write songs. But man, we would do shit like this, bro. Like Pac would come from the Bay, and he would come with like maybe a whole fucking cassette tape, bro. I bullshit you not, on Everything I Love, on my mom's Rest in Peace. He would come with a cassette tape, bro, with like 7 or 8 Digital Underground beats that, you know, that was made by them for him. And then I would come with a cassette, bro, like with Jinx beats. You know what I'm saying? And we would just press play on each other and just rap our ass off. It was like friendly battles, bro. Like we would just rap our ass off for hours, homie.
Man, I wish you guys would have recorded that somehow. That kills me.
I wish I would have too, homie. I really do, man. And so that's how we got close. You know what I'm saying? And then the night of the riots, what happened was he was in the studio. He was in Glendale at the studio, and I was in LA. I was getting cracked. So I called him, and we was like, bro, this boy's down out here. He was like, man, fuck the studio, come get me. So we go way the fuck out there to Glendale, man. I don't know how many cats are not from LA that listen to your show, but you know, we drove about 45 minutes away from LA, out of LA, man, when he got him, and came back, man, and it was crazy, man. He loved it, man, and it was crazy too, because you could just see it in his eyes how much he loved the revolution, bro. Like it was some other shit, like he really dug that shit, man. Like you know, we was happy stealing shit. You know what I'm saying? We was happy breaking in, stealing shit, you know, being young dudes. You know what I'm saying? But he embraced it for what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a revolution. And he embraced it for that. And that night, man, motherfuckers was like, you know, busy doing what they was doing, trying to break into stores and shit, and they was stopping like, wait, man, you Pac, what's up, Pac?
Wow.
He was sitting there like, and he was sitting there like, man, like all bush inside, homie. He would look at cats dead in their eyes and like, man, fuck all that shit tonight, man. Why?
Wow, dude, that gave me chills, dog.
Yeah, homie.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So what'd you end up getting?
Man, it's crazy. I got a story about that too, homie. I got stories, man.
Please, please.
We got back. Yeah, it's crazy when we got back to the hood, homie. My mom was fussing. She was cussing at us. Rest in peace. My mom, she was like, you know, y'all motherfuckers gonna get killed out here robbing and stealing shit. And Pac had a big ass bottle of Tide, homie, and he gave it to my mom. And my mom stopped all that. She stopped all that fussing and shit, homie. Like, oh, thank you, baby. We was like, oh, you want some bullshit?
Oh, that Tide is at a good shit. Oh, that's so
you
funny.
Feel me? Like, come on, man.
Wow.
So, you know, when we had a ball that night, man, it was some other shit, man. It was deep.
See, man.
Yeah, we went picked up G-Rap the next night. The following night,
Cool G-Rap?
G-Rap. Yeah, he had a ball. Yeah.
What do you remember about the LA riots? In the meantime, don't go near this area, South Central Los Angeles at Florence and Normandy, because there is still no police presence there, and a lot of people trying to get through that intersection have been assaulted with rocks and bottles and sticks.
Niggas going to stores, getting everything.
A lot of looting is going on. A disaster area, obviously. The jury found that they were all not guilty.
Make it rough.
It's past 7 years.
Yeah. You good.
But I don't know if I should say that.
Go ahead. We all did it.
The Guns on the Gas We Trust album, album with all the guns, part of the riot.
Oh, damn. Hey, you can't incriminate yourself. Like you said, it's been way more than 7 years. More importantly, what do you remember? Because you guys were, and I'm asking you.
Watching tanks roll through the street.
Yeah.
Actually, we was at the boys' house in Carson.
The boys. Oh, the group,
yeah.
The boys. Okay.
The Prodigy was. I was trying to hook Product to get some beats for them. For their new record. It was like their record after they kind of kicked it back for a while. And we was at the. And when they were showing it on TV, we was at the boys' house. The TV was showing the original Denny stuff.
What do you remember about the peace treaty?
Bells out the door and seen blue and red everywhere. Look how strong we are, niggas showing up from this gang and that gang. Nobody set tripping, cause it's a black thing.
The brief peace treaty, were you guys around then?
That the police played part in making sure it didn't stay
That
peace.
it didn't happen, of course.
Come on, man.
Of course.
Keep it real.
Yeah. Just like that Banging on Wax project. They
that was on the same label we was on.
Oh, what? Dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to kick it with him at Quality all the time.
Okay. Yeah,
We signed with them.
Yeah, just did an interview with
Much
Sin
love
Loc.
to all of them. A lot of them ain't alive.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just did an interview with Sin Loc about
Yes, my boy.
a couple
I
months
love
ago.
him.
Yeah.
He in the Go Hard docu-film.
Oh, okay. No shit. Yeah.
I
Small
got
world.
everybody in that.
Small world.
Got over 100 interviews.
I want to step away from hip hop just a bit, talk about something that was really significant in all of our lives who experienced it back then. I experienced it personally. One of the stores that I went shopping at every day was burned and destroyed. Talk to me about Long Beach's specific experience during the LA riots, because while it was going down in LA on Florence and Normandy, I mean, we had it was kind of going down in our neighborhoods too.
Kinda.
Yeah, kind of. Understatement.
Man, you want to talk about the riot? Man, let me tell you something, man. Woo, it's ironic you bring this up because me and my wife were talking about this the other night, man. It was just so much stuff had been building up, man. Not just in Long Beach, but the county of LA, SoCal, man. It just became a pressure cooker. Man, this is prior to the riots. I want to give you this content. It was just, man, you go to the store to go, get a soda, you get pulled over, you get pulled out, you get searched, you might get stuff planted on you. Then when you get in the car to try to drive home, somebody might bang on you. You had to worry about Mexicans shooting. You had to worry about other black dudes shooting. You had to worry about one time shooting you. It was a pressure cooker, man. You couldn't even go to work without getting jacked. And Koreans were shooting people, the business merchants and owners. It was friction there because we'd walk around the store. They'd follow us. We'd get mad. They shoot. So the whole thing exploded, man, with the Rodney King beating, And it was caught on tape. And we seen people getting beat up in the alley about it one time. That was every day. We just never seen it on tape.
Yep.
And that cat, man, what's his name? Holiday, man, that shot the video, he captured it, man. And when we figured this is obvious, they're going to go to jail, you know what I mean? Because they didn't even use police protocol and procedure.
I was
they
12 and I
all
thought
of
I knew that.
They're going to go to jail, you know what I mean? Because he got a permanent limp and he can't, I think they sterilized him too. I don't think he could reproduce kids.
They messed him up
so
something bad.
But it went crazy, man, and Long Beach went up, man, and it went up because I worked in McDonnell Douglas back then, man, building airplanes, and my phones, where I worked in my department started ringing, and people was like, don't come to L.A. My family, don't come to L.A. Because if the verdict don't go right,
they felt it. They already felt it, right? They felt it.
Right. They was like, they gonna get in the street. And that was my homegirl, Wanda, R.I.P. She got killed in a home invasion, but she was from L.A., so they was calling her. She was letting us know, don't nobody go to L.A. Everybody stay here in Long Beach because it's going to go down. So everybody was waiting on the verdict. And then when the verdict came, man, it was just like, man, because I was there for that. I was there when Pac died. I was there with OJ. I was out there on the side of the 405 with OJ. I didn't mean to go off topic.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. This is because people don't realize that Long Beach is technically LA County, you know, but we're so far out of the pocket that we're our own little thing. Take me to the time that you remember specifically about, you know, just the Rodney King incident that led to the riots, that led to the gang truce. What was going on in Carson around that time?
Okay, now, Carson was quiet. Carson's always been quiet. A lot of the truce was more like in Watts and L.A. and all that. Because I kicked it over there on 74th in the Hoover neighborhood for a time. I went over there to that little park over there on Manchester, and they all of that dancing and partying and stuff like that, but they was all having their truce back here. As far as my hood alone, we was more like on the quiet side. See, when Rodney King thing jumped off, it was more like on the outskirts of us. Because, see, Carson really sits by itself. As you notice, they got a say in 1-9 only. Carson really sits by itself, so when that truth was jumping off there, you know, it really didn't affect us one way or the other. We didn't really care about it. We wasn't really into it. We just more like, we just doing our thing. You know, but the truth was more like for the most serious things that was going on in other like Watts and Compton, L.A. and all that. That's what the truth really had its benefits right there.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that because my uncle bought a house in Carson years ago, you know, 20s, probably even 30 years ago. And I remember us where we lived at the time wasn't a nice area, but we saw Carson as, oh, he's moving to a nice neighborhood. Like, we always saw Carson as like, oh, damn, you moved up, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Everybody thinks Carson is a rich place. Well, the rich Crips, they call it the rich Crips. It's called.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a nice area, true enough, but they have some dark sides to it.
Yeah.
Some real dark side. I can take you back to the '60s where there's some things that went down that they don't know nothing about. You know. Yeah, they got some dark sides, real dark sides.
Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Domino. What up, DJ Domino?
If it wasn't for the little wicked sounds and all that, you know, I might have gangbanged. There was a couple of places where we did have to shut down because there was a body outside.
What do you remember about when crack cocaine hit the streets?
I was Dub C, beatboxer.
Do you remember if he was banging back then? Because apparently he was a real, real street dude at one point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What do you remember about Rodney and Joe Cooley coming together? What do you remember about the peace treaty?
Bailed out the guard, seen blue and red everywhere. Look how strong we are.
You kind of did something and, got all the Bloods and the Crips together.
Only a very cult following type of people remember NOTS.
This might be an exclusive on your show.
Now, growing up in the 80s was crazy. I grew up in the 80s myself. What do you remember about when crack cocaine hit the streets?
Man, as far as I can remember, when crack hit, I remember specifically, like, one of my homeboys was telling me about that stuff. Older guy. Not gonna mention his name, of course. And I've never. Let me put this on the table first. Never did crack ever in my life.
Good.
But he told me about all that stuff, and it was almost like the New Jack City. They remember when homeboys told Nino Brown, like, man, this gonna change the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the women. Well, he really said, but I had a homeboy that actually kind of told me something like that, and I was like, really? It's like, yeah, man, here, take a hit. And I was like, nah, man. You know, and I'm telling you, I can say square, I didn't even smoke cigarettes either, and still to this day I don't smoke cigarettes. But it was almost like a New Jack City type of thing, and when that stuff hit, and then I started seeing some of my homeboys, you know, smoking it and all that stuff, and they looking like they getting sick, I'm like, ugh. You know, and once again, that's what the turntables still saved my life on that crap too.
Yeah, man. Who were some of the DJs that you remember that were making noise on the West Coast back then?
Well, you know what's crazy, man? All the DJs that was making noise was all my homeboys, like DJ Joe Cooley, DJ N.W.A, Unknown DJ, DJ Slip. Now, these guys later on in life came, you know, big time. Like DJ Slip ended up producing MC8. And, of course, you know, DJ Joe Cooley, Rodney and Joe Cooley.
Yep. But you don't hit me, though.
So, exactly. You know, so them the guys that I grew up listening to and, you know, DJing with too. Julio G, another G. You know what I'm saying? So all these guys I grew up with, basically. You know, and I think that's why my DJ skills is the stuff right now because of Joe Cooley. Because me and him always used to I met Joe Cooley getting ready to battle him. You know, and I'm not going to lie to you. When I seen that dude cut and scratch, I was like, whoa, hold up, man. This dude is kind of nice right here. You know, and we talking about mid-80s, mid to late 80s.
Was Rodney O in the picture then?
Nope.
Okay.
There's no such thing as no Rodney O.
Okay.
No such thing, man.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of shine, and I like to bring up the people on my show that don't get a lot of shine that they should. What do you remember about Rodney O and Joe Cooley coming together?
I heard Rodney O because Rodney O was with Egypt, you know, Egyptian Lover at first, and I don't exactly know how they got together. All I know is that one day, you know, I heard Joe and Rodney hooked up, and I was like, oh, man, that's cool. You know, and then that's when Everlasting Bass came out and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, okay, yes. And I'm like, okay, that's a dog right there. There you go. He's about to kill something. I'm like, Rodney O's a lucky man because he don't realize he got one of the baddest DJs on the planet right now.
You know what you just reminded me of? You were talking about the going back and forth thing. They did that on that song. He said something, Rodney O's not Lewis. They were. Was it, or am I having my songs mixed up? I think that was a Run DMC line. My bad.
Yeah, that was
my dumb ass.
No. Black Not. No. Black Not Jewish. No, that was Rodney O and Joe Cooley. No.
Okay,
the thing about that is that everything Rodney was saying, like a few lines, Joe was scratching something that he's supposed to say. That's what it was.
Okay.
And that was the thing. That was the thing back then. So when Rodney said he's black, not, you know, Joe found something that said Jewish.
Got it.
In.
Love it.
And
Love it.
That was the thing back in the days too. And I think Rodney O and Joe had mastered that stuff too. Matter of fact, shout out to Rodney O. Shout out to Joe Cooley, man.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought them up. I'm going to try to get one of them on my show. Hopefully.
I talk to Joe all the time.
Big Devil from Glenwood, California, at 90262.
Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace.
In our last interview, you mentioned that, you know, there was a meeting at the park. You know, I brought up the gang truce in Watts and all that, and I asked if there was, you know, some sort of gang truce in Linwood during the time, and you mentioned that at that time, you know, a lot of gang members got together at this park and, you know, shook hands, but it just wasn't really a truce. And then you mentioned in 1993, all hell broke loose, and then I didn't elaborate on that. I don't know why I didn't. But what was going on in 1993? Is it just because it was that year and shit was just popping everywhere?
Yeah, well, as far as the meeting at the park, we had a meeting to try to put some fires out that was going on in the city with different gangs. And when I got to the park,
it was like a gang reunion to me, because I was seeing dudes that I was in jail with. I was seeing my allies. I was seeing, enemies, Bloods, Pyrus, but it wasn't, we didn't have anybody, no leadership, nobody to get up there and say, you know what, everybody section off, however you want to section off, this is the protocol, if this happened in this certain hood against that certain hood.
There was no Cyrus. There was no Cyrus for the Warriors.
There was no, exactly. There was no Cyrus. Had it been that and set some structure together, and maybe it probably would have been something. But our gang, we operate different because we have that natural, funk. We want funk. You know what I mean? Just like, you can't tell me nothing. We got that type of attitude. So, you tell a young person, hey man, put that, squash that beat. No man, fuck them niggas. I'm finna go bust on them. You know what I'm saying? It's like we needed somebody that's gonna be able to just constantly put it in our ear to stop the violence, and we didn't have that.
Lonzo,
yes sir.
Talk to me about the LA riots and the peace treaty.
Man, that was a crazy ass day, dude. Because it was funny because I just bought some tires. Like, fuck, I just bought these motherfuckers. I could have got them for free. But no, on the real tip, it was fucked up, man, because one, I had the club open and we had to shut down.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, man, because for the first time, the streets was unified during the riots. The Bloods, the Crips, everybody was like kicking it. I didn't do no riding. My brother, he went out there riding. He went to the AM/PM not far from the house, man. He said they was out there exchanging mustard and ketchup and bread. They got all the cigarettes and stuff already. So his brother, the Crips and the Bloods, was out there exchanging shit. And then after we decided to try to do the peace treaty, now that was some deep shit.
It's monumental. I mean,
man. We was at me and my boy Angelo. We had worked with some folks and did a big thing at Eugene Village out there in the park. And man, it was about 6,000-7,000. It looked like the Warriors.
Damn.
It was like the Warriors, man. You got sets from all over, just kicking it. Brothers out there hugging and crying and giving dap and showing love, taking pictures. It was really dope. But what was crazy though, man, you had the cops on the outside. Just kind of hovering, waiting on something to jump off. Then they had video cameras, and they had cameras. They had a lot of cameras out there, dude. And I never forget, man. I spoke at the peace rally.
Oh, really? Okay.
I spoke there, and you had a lot of brothers. I was saying they saying different stuff in different hoods. But a few years later, I went to get my club, the Current Fair, over to Inglewood. And the Inglewood PD called me and told me, we have, our intelligence says that you're affiliated with the Rolling 60s Crips.
What?
I said, that's your intelligence. Still some dumb motherfuckers, okay?
What?
Oh yeah, they tried to put that jacket on me. I said, man, don't tell nobody else that, man. First of all, I don't gangbang with nobody. Yeah. But I'm in Inglewood, you gonna try to make me a Rolling 60s Crip? Yeah. You're trying to get me killed. And, we have videotape of you speaking at an event. Yeah, you do, but look at what I was wearing. Look what I was saying.
Yeah.
They were just trying to hang a jacket on me, man. It was really crazy, dude. It was really. I've always been an advocate for peace in the community, Doc. And it was really crazy because I know I didn't go to all the events, but a lot of times cats would go to the events and they would say after the events you hear shooting. Everybody wanted it, but they wasn't really sure if we ready to, if it's gonna go down. Everybody
wanted peace, you mean? Or
everybody wanted peace.
Oh.
Everybody wanted peace.
Yeah.
Okay, because this has been going on for 50 years. Man.
Yeah,
this is Hatfield and McCoy type stuff, man. This has been just generational, and even then that was like 25 years ago. It was like
93. Yeah,
like 25, almost. Yeah, 27.
27
years ago, and two things happened. One thing that happened out of that situation was really cool. I started my first television show. That's why I'm so comfortable on camera, because I started my first public access show in Compton. In fact, I'm gonna start playing some of these shows, some of those old tapes on my show. And I had all the cats. I had Taco and my man. He passed. They said we was brothers. We look like brothers. I can't think of his name because this damn red like
something deal, Gene Deal.
No, it was, man, it'll come to me, but at some point. But my boy Taco and Vicky Lindsay, a lot of the people from the community activists, Skip Townsend, and all these cats. I know all these cats.
Yeah.
We was really trying to make some things happen. We made some things happen. We had some impact. In fact, what's really crazy, man, I think about the people say, man, you be lying. I don't be lying, tell the truth. I ain't got no reason to lie, but my truth is so fucking nuts. It's sometimes hard to believe. My nonprofit, the Lyrical Revolution, came out of the riots. Okay. Me and my boy Angelo was working with Maxine Waters. And Angelo was real tight with Maxine Waters. In fact, we went on Channel 4 with her, all kind of stuff. And I was always in the background. But Angelo had to connect with Maxine. And Maxine had one of her supporters, a lawyer, put together a nonprofit for us called Future in Action. And it was me, Angelo, and this chick named, white girl named Joanne. And Angelo had to go sit down for a little while, and Joanne moved back to Milwaukee, and it was just sitting there. So Angelo, I said, hey man, we hit him up one day, can I have it? He said, sure, take it. And it went from Future in Action to the Hip Hop Hall of Fame and Entertainment Center. Now it's called the Lyrical Revolution. But that all came from the riots.
Interesting.
And this is some Lonzo trivia that I don't even think Maxine know. Okay, I don't think Maxine know, but she had to put together, and I laugh about that sometime. When I see her, we never had a chance to talk about it yet, but at one point in time we will have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take us back to the riots. Just the verdict. From the cops getting off, and what you felt, and how the city felt, and just what you remember.
That wasn't my first riot.
Oh yeah, the Watts.
I'm an old dude.
Watts riot.
I was
65,
I was
right?
65 during the Watts riot. And for me, both riots was traumatizing, man, because it was like we was in the military state. Okay, the first riot, I was a kid. Okay, I understood, but I didn't really understand. All I know is at nighttime, the store up the hill, people was running down the streets with TVs and groceries and pushing baskets with all kinds of shit in it, right? And my old man, he didn't play that shit. I ain't going to steal the goddamn thing. No. We ain't going out there. People in the neighborhood did, but my old man, he wasn't playing that. And but one story I remember about the riots that's true as shit. My backyard, we had a basketball court in the backyard, and the ball would roll out in the street from time to time. And because I was the oldest, I was the only one authorized to go out in the street to get the ball. And the National Guard was going up and down the street all the time. And one time, I don't know how it happened, but I found a bullet, big ass M16 bullet, right? And I'm 9 years old with a bullet, okay? I'm like, I got a bullet. And I'm cool, I'm happy, I found a bullet, You kids are stupid, I'm stupid, I'm a stupid kid. I'm playing with this bullet, and my sister wouldn't tell on me about the bullet. My mama whooped my ass for having the bullet, not telling her in the first place. But I saw something a few minutes later that I had never seen before. My mama flagged down a whole truckload of National Guard and was talking shit to this motherfucker. My mama was like 5'2", 5'3". She from Louisiana, okay? She a light-skinned, pretty woman, but she didn't play when it came to her fucking kids, okay? And she gave this big country fair white boy the blues about dropping bullets in the neighborhood, and her kids found her. And he, yes ma'am. And we sitting in the park. My daddy like, oh, he gonna get us killed. Okay?
You got to mention the cock wig though.
Huh?
You got to mention.
Oh, she had the wig. The wig was cocked to the side. Okay, she had the wig cocked to the side, and she came out in that ragged ass coat. You'd be embarrassed and stuff. She had that wig cocked to the side, and he was yes ma'am. And it just was like, huh? And my daddy, he was like, you did what? He said, yeah, I don't give a damn who they are. They cannot be dropping bullets around my kids, blah, 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 blah. Now, my old man wasn't no punk, but he knew he couldn't have pulled the same thing off. He couldn't have pulled that same move, okay? And that was my memory of the first riot. The second riot, I was a grown-ass man. And to have the city on lockdown, curfew, watching the news give people the instructions. We're here in the corner of Slauson and Crenshaw, and there's not a cop in sight anywhere. And they're doing this shit, right?
Stupid ass.
Either y'all stupid or y'all super smart, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And to see the Koreans on the stores, on the roofs,
yeah,
with shotguns and AKs, whatever they was toting, man, it was really like, what in the hell?
Mm-hmm.
It was mind blowing, man. And I'm sitting there, and you know, we finally came off the curfew. The smell of the city, ride-by stores that you couldn't, that you should go to, that burnt down. Vermont and Manchester never came back. Used to be a Payless shooter. It never came back. And it was crazy because one day I had a van, and I got a bad habit of riding on E. Okay, I got a bad habit of riding on E. I ran out of gas on La Cienega and Jefferson, I think it was. And it was it's a gas station right there on the corner. It used to be a Kmart or something on the corner. I can't think of what it is right now. And I went to get some gas. Mm-hmm. No, I'm selling you gas and can. No, gas and can. Hey, man, I need some gas. No, don't burn me down. No, I don't want to burn you down. I need some gas, shit. Okay?
Are we this close to having another major riot in a city in the United States? And I mean major riot. I'm not talking about these little pussy riots where they riot for a day and a half and 6 people get hurt. No, I'm talking about a major riot. You know the names? Come on, say them with me. The Detroit riot.
The fire has been raging for more than 30 minutes. The people have been evacuated, and yet the firemen are unable to respond.
The Watts riot.
Los Angeles, California, the district called Watts. 34 persons die. $40 million worth of property is destroyed. Almost 4,000 are arrested.
The L.A. riot.
In the meantime, don't go near this area, south central Los Angeles at Florence and Normandy, because there is still no police presence there, and a lot of people trying to get through that intersection have been assaulted with rocks and bottles and sticks.
That's the one I was around to experience. Comment below, were any of you ever a part of any of those riots? I would love to hear your story, specifically the LA riot, because that's the one that I have the most memory of. I was, let's see, I was 12 years old when Rodney King got his ass beat on the side of the road. This, some would say, was the first reality TV. Some random dude was filming stuff with his video camera, and he just so happened to witness 5 cops beating the shit out of a nigga in Simi Valley, California. Is about as north in LA as it gets. That's quite a ways away from me. But I do remember it fondly because it led, let me get off this. The cops got off, and that led to one of the biggest riots in history, in United States history. The Los Angeles riots. I remember like it was yesterday. The Lucky supermarket that we used to go shopping at down the street every Sunday got burned down to the ground. I remember it like it was yesterday. So let's see. Let's go back to 1992. Take yourself back, guys, to a much simpler time. You don't have your phone. You got your Walkman on. You got your Walkman and your cassette. In your cassette, you're probably listening to, I don't know, and it's a good time. But boiling underneath was this hatred, this friction, this animosity between the police and the inner city. And I experienced it when I was 12, probably younger than that, but I would always get fucked with by the police because I wore baggy jeans and I wasn't hanging around the best people. And I got fucked with by the police ever since a young age, but I did carry myself a certain way back then. But the cops hated the niggas and the niggas hated the cops.
And specifically, the LA cops would do some pretty raunchy shit back in the early 90s, late 80s. They had the Rampart division, the Rampart, look it up, the Rampart scandal. It's quite interesting. Rampart was a division in Los Angeles, and those cops were basically some dirty motherfuckers.
Los Angeles Police Department is embroiled in the worst scandal in its history. Charges of police evidence tampering and perjury have led to the freeing of dozens of inmates who were wrongly accused and convicted.
But they would literally do shit like it if they knew you were from a certain gang. Let's say you were a Crip. Let's say you were a neighborhood Crip in Compton. They would beat the shit out of you and then drop you off in a fucking and they would take you to a rival gang, to the Looters Park Pyrus, and drop you off in some random alley where they know Bloods walked up and down the alley just so they can finish you off. Really happened. I'm sure it happens to this day, but I guarantee not to the extent that it was happening back then, because let's be honest, there's cameras everywhere, there's satellites everywhere. I mean, you can't walk outside without being assuming that you're being watched. And if you're committing crimes in broad daylight, or you just got to be the dumbest Negro on the planet, because there's so many. I mean, every time I walk out of my house, I fucking assume there's a camera looking at me somewhere in the sky. Big brother, they got me. I'm not paranoid because I ain't doing shit. But if I was doing shit like I was 20 years ago, I'd be paranoid as fuck. And if you are doing shit now, you should be paranoid as fuck too, because they're watching you. But it was a different time back then. They would probably beat niggas' asses a lot more. They would do some fucked up shit. And there was this tension. And that tension came to a boiling point, and it exploded, ladies and gentlemen, on that spring afternoon in April of 1992. Started on Florence and Normandy when Reginald Denny got his ass beat. Just 3 random dudes, and they ended up being football prospects, and they were supposed to be football stars and shit, but they ended up dragging this white motherfucker out of his truck. He was just driving home. He had no idea what was going on, and he was probably just listening to the radio, just, and then he says, oh, and then maybe they get a warning. There is an uprising starting on Florence and Normandy. And then he looks up, he's at the light, he's like, wait a second, I'm at Florence and Normandy. Oh shit! Oh! And they just beat his shit. And that started it all. And Los Angeles was on fire for days after that. Was it 6 days? 50 killed in the span of 6 days. The cops were not prepared for this. The cops were not prepared for this. A major city like Los Angeles was not prepared for this back in 1992. I think at that time there were 8,000 police officers. And something like 4 million people in LA. Let's just say 1% of them, of that 4 million, decided to say, you know what, fuck this shit, we taking shit into our own hands. They already have the cops outnumbered. I mean, that's how it is in the streets right now. In LA, there's a couple 100,000 gang members, literally a couple 100,000 gang members. And there can't be no more than 40,000 cops. So they're outnumbered for sure. But yes, back to 1992. Imagine shit going down slowly, just a little spark here and there in Los Angeles, little parts of the town, and the next thing you know, it's on fire, it's going down. You literally saw tanks in Los Angeles. I remember like it was yesterday, fucking driving through Long Beach and seeing a random tank just parked on the street. And it wasn't no movie prop tank, you know, because we are in LA and they do film a lot of movies and shit like that. No, nigga, this was a real fucking tank with a real missile to where if they had to blow up a bunch of niggas at any given moment, they could have done that. $700 Korean businesses destroyed. 700 Korean businesses destroyed. This single act alone here in Los Angeles destroyed the African-American Korean relationship in Los Angeles, and it is still to this day, okay? Hey, 16-year-old nigga listening right now. You ever walk into a liquor store and the Korean lady looks at you and she gives you an eye, or she gets pissed off at you, or she gives you random attitude for no reason, or she doesn't let you slide on that 2 pennies because you don't have $1.07, you only have $1.05 to buy your blunt?
Hurry up and buy. Hurry up and buy.
You know why she does that? Because in her head, your fucking uncle burned her store to the ground 25 years ago and she's still holding a grudge. Oh yeah, that grudge is still going on to this day in Los Angeles. The Korean African-American relationship is still trying to mend itself. The chick I buy my blunts from, who I've been buying my blunts from for years, and I go out of my way to buy my blunts specifically from her, first off, I really, every time she talks to me, she like says something like she wants to fuck. Like, real talk, I think deep down she wants to fuck. She's probably about 60 now. She's an awesome Korean lady. Shout out Ming. I see you on Monday. But I don't know, every time she says shit, she just gives it like a little weird sexual undertone. But I love Ming, man. She talked to me about how she had a store during the riots. Her husband was running it back then. She was really young, and her husband was running it, and it got burned to the ground. And I was just like, damn, it's really fucked up. And you know what she did? She didn't cry about it. She didn't blame anybody. She didn't point fingers and blah, blah, blah. You know what they did? They fucking got their shit together and they built another business. That's what I respect about Koreans. That's what I respect about anyone who comes to this country legally. That's what I respect about anyone who comes to this country. And because just like Ming explained to me, she came to this country with $2 in her pocket, and I'm using $2 figuratively. But she came to this country literally with nothing in her pocket, and her husband were able to build a bunch of liquor stores, kill a bunch of niggas from liver alcohol damage, and now she's able to put her kids through their universities, and now they're building businesses and owning liquor stores and killing more niggas from liver cancer in other neighborhoods all across the beautiful United States of America, usually named after great leaders like Martin Luther King. Yeah, can we not have a street in America named Martin Luther King that is not the ghetto? How fucking shitty is that? Like, if I ranch it, we're dropping a Martin Luther King in the middle of Beverly Hills tomorrow. Like, Martin Luther King it's not Rodeo Drive anymore. Sorry. Yes, it's Martin Luther King Boulevard. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna build a swap meet right down the street, and I'm gonna put a liquor store right here.
Game, man. Hey, fucking somebody else.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine what it must have been like for these Koreans. And their thought is, yes, I came to this country with $2 in my pocket, and you niggers aren't gonna take my shit. So they were popping niggas. They were literally standing outside of their stores shooting at motherfuckers.
But I'll tell you what happened moments later. The Korean merchants and store owners who own that shopping complex, they were talking to me for a moment. They said they were fed up. They walked away. Next thing I knew, they walked out of their stores. 3 of them were holding guns, and they just started firing at everybody and anybody. We go live? We were showing some of this to you live earlier. Then what happened, apparently a car full of some young black kids pulled up on the other side, and they started shooting back. You're going to start to see what they noticed what was going on. They started shooting back, and we were right in the middle of it. It all happened so quickly. To tell you the truth, I thought they were blanks at first. I couldn't believe that these guys had actually pulled out loaded guns, but they were. There were bullets flying all over. And here you can see, this is where they see the cars pull up and they start to shoot back. And they start to take cover, realizing, I think, what they had started there. But there's just a simmering point, and they boiled over. I mean, I saw it happen. I was talking to the gentleman. I saw it in his eyes. He ran away from me. I thought he was going to give me his business card. I had asked for an interview. Next thing I knew, as I say, he came out with those guns.
Protecting what they had left. They don't want to go back to their country where they had nothing. That's why they're here. And you're taking it from them. It was a fucked up situation. It caused over $1 million in damage. And to this day in Los Angeles, there are still buildings that haven't quite recovered. They just said fucking and left it damaged because they probably haven't even turned a profit since the Los Angeles riots. So they're just like, fuck it. But that's my thing. Why? When I was a kid, I remember sitting there, because my mom would not let me out of the house for nothing. But I remember sitting there thinking, why are they damaging their own neighborhood? Why are they damaging their own neighborhood? And this was my 12-year-old thinking, so please don't take it as how I'm thinking today. But my thought was, why don't they go to a white neighborhood and fuck that neighborhood up? That's what I was thinking. And even to this day, although I don't condone it, it still makes more sense to me. I don't know, go fuck up Simi Valley. Don't fuck up your neighborhood. And that's when I remember thinking to myself, I remember thinking we're at heart, we're all animals. We're still animals. What does a stubborn dog do when you leave him in the garage for too long and he knows how to get into shit? Oh, he's going to get upset for you leaving him in the garage for 18 hours, and he's going to start getting into shit. He's going to start tearing stuff up the walls. He's going to get into your wedding dress, and he's just going to rip it up. He's going to get all your important pictures and just scratch them up, and then you're going to come home and there's shit everywhere. And for the record, what you were seeing, what you saw, and contrary to what the media wanted you to believe back then, those were not black people rioting. Those were niggers rioting. Those were not black people. There is a difference, and if you don't know the fucking difference, then I'm not going to sit here and explain it to you. Those were not black people back then. But every time I remember them turning on the TV, it was a black person running out, running out with the fucking TV. They had niggas with couches over their head. I could proudly say most of my family was sitting their asses in the house watching this shit on the TV thinking, damn, these niggas are giving black people such a bad name. I do remember that week though, going to school and motherfuckers would have new clothes and new Reebok pumps, and I'd be like, damn dog, you laced up today. And they'd be like, yeah man, my brother went and got some shit from the riots, nigga. Ah shit. Then niggas was all laced up. That niggas had bomber jackets, motherfucking Raider coats. I remember. But that also taught me, that event also taught me, and this is something that I've carried to this day, how important the Second Amendment is. How important it is to arm yourself and have guns in your home. Because we are, I'm gonna say, we are at a time where it's gonna take one little match. Just one little thing, and we're gonna have another major riot again. And what's gonna stop motherfuckers from coming into your house and trying to take shit from you? I live in a nice neighborhood now. I moved out of the fucking hood. What if they come to my neighborhood thinking I'm some white dude, some rich 1%er, and they bust into my shit and they start looting me? And this is a possibility. I'm not speaking anything that's not possible, and I'm not saying anything that's paranoid. So don't be like, oh, Dusty's on his paranoid shit again. No, if you think I'm paranoid, then you're going to be one of the first motherfuckers they take out. Because I'll tell you right now, if anybody comes into my house unannounced, oh, it's going to be the 4th of July in this motherfucker. I got a gun in every room. And you should too. Protect yourself. And it's not about being paranoid. It's about motherfuckers trying to take it back to 1992 and turn up because we are second. You know how we're moments in LA, if you'll feel me on this, in Los Angeles. We're pretty ready for a major earthquake. We haven't had a major earthquake in a long time. We are due for a motherfucking riot. I feel it in the air, and I'm not provoking anything, but I feel it. I mean, we got a fucking clown in the White House. We got North Korea trying to throw bombs at us, and we got cops still killing niggas. So we'll see where this goes. But definitely comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are we close to another riot?
April 1992 is when we had the infamous LA riots over the Rodney King beating. So I want to talk first, and I'm seeing a lot of RIP shock G's, man. Fuck, it's probably true. Yeah. So talk to me about, the first time you saw the Rodney King tape, what your thoughts were, and did you, were you like, okay, these cops are guilty?
You know, when I first saw it, I said, thank God for VHS cameras.
Okay.
First thing, because I've, as a young man growing up in Los Angeles, my daddy had friends who had been beaten by the cops. Okay, for just having cars, man. My daddy had a friend, one of his good friends got beat up by the cop. He bought a brand new Thunderbird. He drove it to work, coming home down Florence. Cop pulled him over and beat his ass for having a brand new Thunderbird. Okay. And my old man, he was always conscious of things like that. So every time he bought a Cadillac shortly after that, every time we rolled the Cadillac, he had kids in the car. Okay. So when you know this situation has been going on for a while, but now you have evidence. Now you have to prove to the world that this is not a one-off situation. This is common practice. This dude was in Simi Valley in a Hyundai doing 70, 80 miles an hour, and he was being beaten by 5 or 6 cops, and his body's natural responses was justification for them to keep beating. He kept moving. You kept hitting him.
Yeah, well, my mama used to whoop my ass. I'd be moving too. She's like, stand still. I'm like, how the fuck do you expect me to stand still?
I can't. My body's nerves is bad.
Exactly.
You beating on somebody's body, unless they're dead, they cannot sit there and not respond. This dude was he was on his back also. You got 5 dudes. Why nobody tried to handcuff him? Why was a beating necessary in that situation? But thank God somebody was in their bathroom with a VHS camera and videotaped the whole situation. Then you got those cops who vigilante cops who want to harass people for doing videos. Okay, they say the young lady who took the video of George Floyd, she was in fear of her life. Okay, because this is police, man. This is police. You know, the lady who took the video, the person who took the video of Rodney King was in fear of their life. Okay,
I would be too.
So it's things have changed tremendously, but a lot of these cops don't care about the cameras. Either they don't care or they care too much. I was just watching the video. His buddy pulled up in his driveway. Guys on the bike got his hands up. The cop was more concerned about the guy videotaping him than he was the guy he was pulling over. The guy who pulled over on the bike is in the driveway with his hands up, but the guy's on his porch with his camera out. Cop telling him, "You interfering with my case, but by videotaping me, you're at his property, okay? I'm on my driveway, plenty enough space between these two people for him to do his job, but because he was there and got their camera in his face, he felt threatened in some way, form, or fashion. Ended up giving the homeboy a bad case of the police. What you call it?
Brutality?
No, it was police brutality, but also interfering with police duty of police.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh, really? He gave him a charge. He tried to charge him with that or something?
On the ground, the camera ended up going off at some point in time. You know, it was interfering with police. What you call it? Resisting arrest. Get him a case of arrest. You know, and they keep saying that shit. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. That, you know, and just like homegirl with the taser. Okay, I'm gonna tase you. I'm gonna tase you. I'm gonna tase you. Oh my God, that's bullshit. They're taught to say certain things on camera, so you hear something, but you see something. You're not seeing them what they're doing to the person. I mean, if you are in a up close and personal in that camera like that, all you see is a lot of black and movement. Okay, You hear him saying, "Stop resisting, dude. I'm not resisting. I'm just standing here. What you want me to do? You want me to lay on the ground?" He said, "Stop resisting. Stop resisting. What do you want me to do?" And if you notice, they constantly repeat that in every video you see, whether resisting or not.
Damn.
You know something
about man. What's that?
I was trying to figure out how much money does a National Guardsman make.
Okay.
I think they might make about $1,500 a month, maybe $2,000 a month.
That's it.
If that,
wow.
Okay, it's not a lot of money. Okay, depending on what their rank is. What did my camera go? Oh, my camera. Oh, hold on, man. I'm going nowhere.
Go ahead. Nope, I don't see you at all, man. Hold on there. Unless you got black as hell. Go on and fix that. What up, Deshay? Yes, says RIP Shock G. Damn. Cash Cam 7, big respect and salute to you, brothers. Thank you very much, Cash Cam 7. Imagine all the times without phones and cameras, especially back in the 90s, 80s, when you didn't even have VHS, cameras. Now everybody has a camera, and they're still trying to say we didn't see what we saw, which is the interesting part. Hopefully you have MC8 on the show so y'all can chop it up and make amends. I don't think they have any issues like that, but yeah, I would love to see MC8 on the show. That would be dope. What up, Lonzo? Been a minute. I used to engineer for Crystal and Glenn at Accelerated Radio. Shout out to Accelerated Radio. There we go. I see a camera on now. And Lonzo doing his thing. Yep, I see you now.
As much as I do this, every once in a while, I'll trip.
Happens to the best of us.
I stuck the power cord into a mic cord by mistake and wouldn't get done. I'm trying to figure out why this camera was flashing at me, but we good. We all good.
It's just like, motherfucker, put a battery in. But we were talking about the National Guard making $1,500.
If National Guard makes $1,500 a month, that's roughly what?
$16,000 a year.
Versus
not even 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. 18.
Let's say for conversation's sake,
20,000.
For 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 20,000, and they're working pretty much all the time. Okay, they're working. They're on duty 24 hours a day when they're on duty, right? Think about this, okay? A cop causes a problem in the community. A cop makes 70, 80,000 base pay plus overtime. Okay, average cop walks in making about $65,000-$70,000 a year. Okay,
right.
That's their base plus overtime. That takes it to a whole nother level. It could be 100, 105 a year with overtime. So for the price of one cop, you can hire 5 National Guards.
Damn.
You
break it down like that, yeah.
You hire 5 National Guard. Now, hopefully, please help. Make sure if I haven't done the actual research yet, but I do. Again, for conversation's sake, we giving the National Guard $20,000 a year versus one cop that makes $65,000 to $70,000. Every time I see an ad for policemen, it's $65,000 to $70,000 based on your education.
Right.
And we know overtime takes everything to a whole nother level. Everybody lives for overtime.
Right.
OT is what they love. Everybody loves OT. So if you're making 75 to 80 bucks an hour, and overtime is time and a half, okay, your checks get real quick. Okay.
Right. Yep.
It buys a lot of boats. It buys a lot of 4-wheelers. It buys all the good stuff that that you need. Meanwhile, you got a National Guardsman that's making $20,000 a year, and they have to put up with all kind of shit. But after that, insurrection in 2006, they had people living they had guys living in the soldiers living in the parking structure.
Yep.
Capitol building. They were free. It was cold as hell. January.
Yeah, January 20. Yeah.
Okay, and they didn't want. And Congress, some of the congressmen did not want to let them come inside. When they were on the weekend. Okay, what freaking shit is that?
That's some bullshit. If you ask me.
These people are here to protect you. You got them living outside because they're soldiers. They should live outside. They should rough it out. But meanwhile, you have a big empty building that can be warmed up, heated up, but you won't let them come in because the people who are actually paid to do the job, the Capitol Police, they dropped the ball on that. Okay, so at some point in time, they had to call in the National Guard to come and secure the Capitol building because the people who actually job is to secure the Capitol building didn't act soon enough.
Do their job, yeah.
Their job. So as I was saying earlier, for every one cop, you got 5 National Guards that you can bring in at a cheaper rate. Now I don't know who pays for it. That the city pays for it. That the government, or the state pays for it. But yes, we talking economics again. Okay,
that's crazy, yo.
Respect the money. Remember I told you that before. Respect the money. Okay?
Yep.
Respect.
Damn. Whew. Deep. A lot going on in the chat room. A lot of RIP Shock G's. Damian Miner says, I would love to have you guys on the show. Lonzo, I love your storytelling. I shot on my email so we can set that up. That would be dope. Yeah, type it in. I don't know yours by heart.
Okay. Can I do this? I never responded to anybody on my
tell me what it is and I'll type it in.
Real Lonzo N.W.A. at Gmail.
Oh yeah, that's right. Real Lonzo, no A, right?
No, right. Real Lonzo N.W.A. at Gmail.
It is. All right, cool.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's fast forward a little bit, man. So we have the videotape. We have the actual, sentencing, which was BS. All the cops got acquitted in that situation back in 1992. And we have an uprising in Los Angeles. Talk to me about, your thoughts when you turn on your TV and you're seeing, Reginald Denny get hit with a brick, and you're seeing places, maybe a mile away from you up in flames.
Dude, that was kind of frightening, man. Because I lived through that wasn't my first riot. I lived through the 65 riots too. I was a kid. And when you're a kid and see National Guard rolling through your neighborhood, that's some frightening shit, dude. Okay. And I immediately went back there as a kid. I'll never forget, I was at my cousin's house. I just bought me some tires at the tire shop on Avalon and El Segundo with my cousin's pad, and I was clowning. He was clowning me. Oh, man, you could have got them tires for free if you waited. So I'm like, no. I just bought them tires. And
that's hilarious.
And when the riots, when you have an uprising in the city, you have a lot of different vibes, man. Things change considerably. Okay. My brother, he went out there, he went out shopping. I called it shopping. Okay. He said he went to the 7-Eleven on El Segundo and Figueroa, and they got all the good stuff, the beer and cigarettes and everything. He said Bloods and Crips was outside trading mustard and ketchup for bread and stuff like that. It got to be a trading war, a trading spot.
Oh my God.
And my only question have always been, man, I know people got their justifications for doing what they do. I'm trying to figure out, how is it? I never understood, how is it? I understand the frustration. How is it still a new TV set gonna make anything better?
Correct.
How is still in the toasters and tennis shoes? And this time I saw in the news where Beverly Hills had put up their screens in front of the windows. They was all prepared, right?
Yeah.
Beverly Hills is ready to roll. And I'm trying to figure, how is the Gucci bag gonna change?
Gonna bring back police brutality and
right. But like they said, one person said, you stole more than we could ever loot. But I'm like, man, I think it's other ways to address that as opposed to just going shopping. That's basically what it comes to, going on the shopping spree.
Yeah.
It's a straight shopping spree based on anger. I know a lot of people was pissed off that they convicted him. Like, damn, we can't go shopping. We can't justify. I was going to say that Tuesday to have our show. I said, I bet you there's a lot of people out there probably pissed off. They can't justify going shopping these days.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of reports that, because unfortunately there are a lot of outside forces making us look bad, and apparently Antifa was ready. They had their market set go, and nothing.
Oh man, it's called off. Okay, that's kind of stuff we're dealing with, man. You're dealing with not only our situation. You got a lot of people that make us look bad in the interim. Okay,
exactly.
People that have no interest other than to agitate and make things worse than what they really are.
Last summer, I'll tell you right now, did I see a lot of us running out of Foot Lockers? Sure. Did I see a lot of us running out of, Gucci store? Sure. But one thing I did not see any of us, and I mean people of color, doing, I didn't see one black person with a brick. I saw a few white people with bricks, but I didn't see no black people with bricks.
I saw several videos of piles of bricks. Piles of bricks. I mean, guys said, man, look at this right here, dude. Here is a perfect pallet of bricks in Beverly Hills or wherever they were. No construction anywhere. There's a magical a magical pallet of bricks just popped up one day, just in time for the uprising. Okay, my sister was given some white boys was passing out bricks in a Mercedes. She was like, throw this through the window. You see that one? Pissed because,
but I've seen several like that.
How you gonna come out here and pass out bricks? Okay, and you going back home. When they were rioting over here, they had an uprising right here at the sheriff's station, not far from where I live. And it was people from outside of the city came in to help. Okay, but when you help tear up stuff, keep a ruckus going, and you leave. And most of them were not black.
Yep, facts. That's 100% facts, dude.
Dude. That's and when the story gets told, they're not gonna be mentioned in the story.
Nope.
They're not.
It's just just gonna be Black Lives Matter. They're gonna lump it all into Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, it's amazing how they've turned Black Lives Matter just like they turned the Black Panthers into some kind of anti-white group. It's not. They're not anti-white at all. They're just anti-bullshit. Okay. Black Panthers, the same thing. Black Panthers were doing all kind of great things in the community, but at some point in time, when they started smashing on them, they smashed back, and that's what made them terrorists. That's what made them an anti community, anti police group. Yes, when they got smashed on, they smashed back, and that's the whole. They ain't used to that. Okay, I remember about those stories on 54th and the 54th in Central and the headquarters. And they were shooting. I mean, I remember these things as a kid, dude. I mean, the vibe was crazy. I remember that day I was going someplace, and the police were just flying down the street. They was all running, and dude, it was like a shark frenzy, dude. They would. I mean, every time you saw a cop, they would just hitting the corners, fly them down to go wherever they were going, dude. It was just fucking crazy. Okay?
Damn, dude.
And the riots, it was the same way, man. You know, same way. You saw cops riding 4 and 5 deep. Okay, riot gear on. Okay, when you see them riding 4 deep, go home. Go home.
Yeah, for real.
They're looking for problems. Okay,
yep.
they're looking for justification to have a problem. Okay. And that's what I was feeling during the Rodney King situation.
I worked at Rampart Division, and those cops were their own gang. Yes, they were. Oh, Rampart was the one. What was the I guess he was kind of Latino, but he was more of a black type of Latino. Big name, Mac, something like that. Help me out. But there was a big dude in the early '90s who was fucked. But he was doing a lot of shit. But yes, LAPD is their own gang, ladies and gentlemen. And I've always said this. Living in Los Angeles, Crips don't scare me. Rafael Perez, thank you. I always said, Crips don't scare me. Bloods don't scare me. MS-13 doesn't scare me. But I'll tell you, who unfortunately does pump a little bit of fear into my heart. A little bit. And rightfully so, are the police. But Uncle Tom, earlier you said 99% of police are good. Oh, you are so right. Yes, I do believe that. And in my head, I do believe that. But when I get pulled over, if I ever get pulled over, if I am ever in the proximity of a police officer, in a bad situation, I'm thinking in my head, are they one of the good ones? Or are they one of the bad ones? Garrett says, remember the Rodney King beating? Of course I remember the Rodney King beating, Garrett. Oh, let me roll up. Let me spark something. The Rodney King beating. I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I think we're coming up on the anniversary. How weird is it that you said that? Because I really think we're coming up on the anniversary of the LA riots, which were a result of the Rodney King beating. Anyone who doesn't remember the Rodney King beating, let me take you back to a much simpler time. And by much simpler, I meant fucking crazy, because in 92, 93, LA was the wild, wild west. But one day, the police were chasing this man on the freeway who was in a Hyundai. I believe he was in a Hyundai. And they beat this man to a bloody pulp, ladies and gentlemen. To a bloody pulp. But what made this a little different was the fact that someone actually recorded it. See, kids, back in the day, not everyone had a cell phone. Oh, no. See, what we had were these big-ass cameras that sometime you put on your shoulder or you had to hold sometime with 2 hands. Big cameras.
cost $800, like, you know, because they were important. Big cameras. And you'd be filming stuff on your camera, and then you'd have a tape inside of it, and then you take the tape out, and then you put it into a bigger tape, then you record it. Like, kids have no idea what I'm talking about, but this is the dinosaur age. Stay with me. I'm 41 years old. Tail end of the dinosaur age, right into the computer age, which is where I fit in. But yes. Someone caught this beating on tape, and that was huge. That was huge back then. Camcorders, that's what they were called. That's the word I was looking for. Camcorders. Someone caught this beating on a camcorder, sold it to that day's version of TMZ. Now everybody sends their tapes to TMZ. I don't know who they sent it to. NBC, Fox, Channel 2, Channel 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, or 13. That's about all we had. The kids right now still are like, what are you talking about? I'm literally talking French to anybody under 20 right now. But if you're under 20, hang in with me. Somebody caught it on tape. And they saw that the cops beat the dog shit out of Rodney King. Oh, we all saw the tape. We all know it's embedded in our head. We see it, like, right? You could close your eyes for 2 seconds and just remember and just picture the Rodney King beating. It's one of those things. It's like 9/11. It's embedded in our head. Close your eyes for a second. The pictures, everything, like it's all there. So we saw the cops beat the dog shit out of Rodney King, who was high on PCP, might I add. I will throw that out there because I do like to play devil's advocate. That nigga was high on P, motherfucking C, motherfucking P. And for anybody who doesn't know what PCP is, that shit turns you into the Incredible Hulk. So Rodney King's high on PCP. He's fighting, you know, the officers. He's giving them a little shit. But still, there's 4 or 5 officers. I can't remember how many. But niggas was boom, boom, beating the shit. There was some funny business going on during the trial, whatnot. Long story short, the cops got off. Oh, ho, ho. Long story short, the cops got off. I was 12. I had just moved to Bell Gardens from Long Beach, California. Just moved to Bell Gardens. I was hanging with one of my friends, like in the backyard. I just remember this for some reason. It's one of those things you remember. Everybody remembers where they were when they heard that the Rodney King police were found not guilty. Please share your story below, whether you're listening on podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Please share your story below. I want to know, where were you when you got the news that, basically, where were you when the riot started? All right, because that's what I'm leading into. So I'm in Bell Gardens, and I remember some parents talking about it. They were upset. Get home, turn on the news, and Los Angeles is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's going down. And me as a 12-year-old nerd, I'm all ears. I'm on Channel 2. I'm on Channel 4. I'm on Channel 5. When Channel 5 goes to commercial, I'm on Channel 7. I'm on Channel 9. When Channel 9 goes to commercial, I'm at 11 until 11 ends, and then I'm on 13. I was on all of the stations during this because I was so interested in it. I was interested in, as a 12-year-old, like, why are we burning down the city that we live in? I remember asking my mom, why are they burning the city down? I don't think my mom even really gave me a good answer. She didn't know. But we burned the city down.
And I remember like it was yesterday. We used to go to a Lucky's. It was either Lucky's or Alpha Beta. It had one or the other. I'm pretty sure it was a Lucky's. Anybody remember, my age, remember Lucky's supermarket? It was a Lucky's that we used to always go to. They burnt that bitch down. They burn it down. Sublime has a great song about the Rodney King riots. Check it out when you get a chance. I can't think of it off the top of my head, what it's called, but they talk about the LA riots specifically from a Long Beach standpoint. And I'm from Long Beach, so I gravitated to that song. So if you're a Sublime fan, check it out. I can't think of the song off the top of my head. But yes, I was there, and man, what an interesting time. What an interesting time. Thanks for bringing that up, man. I didn't expect to talk about that. Randy says, something FS 550 riots started and never went home for 3 days. What does FS mean? I don't know. Fuck's sake. Sorry. Tuesday, April 29th, 1992. There it is. Thank you, bud. Yeah, I always remember it was in April. For whatever reason, I remember. He says, Garrick says, I told my English teacher if those cops get off, the city will riot. Unfortunately, I was right. How old were you, Garrick? I'm curious. How old were you? Because I was 12, so I didn't really understand the whole thing until years later. I didn't really understand the whole thing. Because my thing was, why are we messing up our neighborhood? Why don't we drive to Simi Valley and mess up their neighborhood? That was my weird way of thinking. That was just my, like, I didn't understand. This is what I didn't understand and things like this. I didn't get that because the chase ended in Simi Valley, California. The chase ended there. So my thought was, why aren't they messing up Simi Valley? Why don't they go to Simi Valley and mess up Simi Valley? Why are they messing up our neighborhood? But that just happened to be where the chase stopped. It could have stopped in Encino, and I would have said, why aren't they messing up Encino? Why are they messing up Watts, Compton, Long Beach? But I was 12. I didn't get it. I was a kid. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, man. You took me back down memory lane. The riots are one of those things that will be embedded in my head for a very long time. Oh, so Travis knows the joint. My boy Travis Montgomery, shout out. He said it's funny, his first lyric in the song. It's called April 26, 1992. Is that what it's called? Okay, cool. Maybe he wrote it 3 days later. Yeah, that's the song right there. That's the song. And I grew up in Long Beach, so if you listen to, so they have the lyrics, they're doing their lyrics, and then in the hook or the chorus, for my non-music friends, the chorus, it was Police Scanner, and they were saying, yeah, I'm on Cherry and 9th. The liquor store is burnt down. Like, I was like, oh shit, I know where Cherry and 9th is. Like, it was tripping me out that I was listening to that song. But once again, I didn't understand it until years later. I didn't even understand the magnitude of it. I just was like, what the fuck is going on in my city? Why are they burning the city down? And why are people coming to school in brand new clothes? I remember people were coming to school in brand new starter jackets. Hey, where'd you get that Houston Oilers starter jacket? Damn, nigga, you got the new Reebok pumps. Where you get those? Nigga, my brother stole them off Slauson and Crenshaw, my nigga. Florence and Normandy, son. Yeah. Interesting time. Very, very interesting time. LA was a war zone. LA was a war zone, man. I think I mentioned this before. 2,500 plus murders in Los Angeles. What up, Anthony? Travis says, did you see the National Guard? I remember, I didn't see them driving or anything, but I remember, like, my mom would have to go run an errand or something, and of course I would have to go with her, and I remember seeing them parked on the street. Like, I'd see just a random tank, and I was like, okay, that's weird. But once again, I didn't understand the magnitude of it. I didn't know what the National Guard was, until a few years later, till I started researching, the whole thing. Only shit I knew from the LA riots was Ice Cube's song Get Wicked. That's about all I knew about the LA riots. Get wicked, 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 to man, get a wicked, wicked. Oh, I gotta play that song. That's my shit. Yes, Wicked Man. Yeah, that's about the only thing. Yeah, I didn't understand the magnitude of it. So crazy. Crazy time, 1992, so interesting. You kids don't know how good you have it. Oh, you think it's bad right now. Oh my God, the crime is going up in Los Angeles. Oh my God. We had 10 murders in the past 3 weeks. Oh my God, what is going on in Los Angeles? Crime is up like 20%. It's up 20% compared to last year. Calm the fuck down, because we had like 600 murders in 2018 compared to 2,500 murders when I was a wee lad in Los Angeles back in 1992.
We did our me and my boy Angelo. We were part of some of those peace treaties out in the streets, and we'd have 4,000-5,000 brothers.
God, what a scene that must have been, Alonzo.
Dude, it was touching, dude. It was touching.
Getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
It was 4,000 to 5,000. At one time, it was estimated 5,500 brothers at Magic Johnson Park. Okay. And most of the time, some of these brothers would never come to that park, no way, form, or fashion. And dudes, at that time, I was 92. I was in my 40s and or late 30s. Yeah, I was in my late 30s then. And there was guys back then, 60, 55, 60, been gangbanging since the inception of gangbanging. Coming up, man, hugging and crying and pouring out a little liquor. And I noticed on the outside perimeter, it was nothing but cops with cameras. In fact, this is a true story. When I applied for my liquor license at my club over in Inglewood, I applied for a liquor license, and I don't have a record or anything like that. The Inglewood PD told me they had footage of me at a gang rally from 1992, and that I was. They called me and told me this. They were going to deny my liquor license because they had footage of me at a gang rally in 1992, and that I was supposed to have been some type of Rolling 60s. I said, first of all, please don't tell nobody else that. I'm in Inglewood. Second of all, if that's your intelligence, y'all ain't that goddamn smart. Okay?
Wow.
Dude. And I had to go and appeal that shit. I won the appeal, but that was their basis. One of their basis for me trying to keep me from getting a liquor license. So they said I was on video speaking at, and I did speak. Speak, okay? But it wasn't like I was rah, shoot the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of party. I'm glad the brothers out here doing what they're doing and, doing what they got to do. And it just, hey, man, they always wanted to put a twist on it, make you the bad guy.
And I've had a lot of people, on my own show who were involved in that project in some form or fashion or were there that day. And a lot of them say that the cops were hoping something would pop off. And once they realized nothing popped off, and the media was hoping something would pop off. And once they realized, oh, they really do want positivity, like they stopped getting the news coverage. They stopped getting, the news cameras disappeared.
Well, dude, also, man, a lot of times I watch the news. The news that says and if something happened in the community, no matter, it could happen in East LA. Okay. It ain't got to be black. It ain't got to be black on brown. It could be two guys from East LA had a problem, or two guys had a problem in the neighborhood. The news would always say, had a little sly remarks like, it's day 2 of the peace treaty, and there were two incidents in so and so's neighbor in the East LA. So much for the peace treaty.
Wow, they make shit like that, huh?
Bullshit. I remember this very, very vividly, man. And I'm like, would y'all do some shit like this? I'm still naive to the fact that gang activity is good money. Okay. I'm thinking people want the same thing that we want, and they don't want the same thing we want. Gang is good money for other people. Okay, it's good money for other people. Okay, and that's what we're dealing with, Doc. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And one of my dad's friend owned a mortuary in Inglewood. He came by the house. He was like, "God damn, Al, can you loan me $20?" My dad said, "What the fuck are you borrow $20 for?" He said, "Man, these niggas stop killing each other. My business is getting bad as hell. These niggas got to stop get back to killing each other so I can get my money."
I tell that story on my show actually because you mentioned that before.
I'm like,
how this mortuary is going to go out of business because people ain't killing each other.
Right. Gangbangers don't understand how much sub business they create by their activities. You provide overtime for all the police. If you ever go to a crime scene where there's been a shooting, you got a bunch of cops sitting around with their hands in their pockets. Okay?
Yep.
You got 25, 30 cops sitting around doing nothing. Okay. Guarding the detectives. Okay. The funeral business got so big that other people have bought up black funeral homes. I'm not gonna say you think I'm bullshitting? Do you?
Yeah, no, that's great. I makes 100%. I was like, damn, I need to invest. I'm just kidding, guys.
Own black funeral homes. But used to be black funeral homes. Okay.
Huh.
All right. There's an industrial complex. Okay. I was laughing the other day. Somebody said, "Man, why you think Compton had the problem that they have?" I said, "Look at Compton. The biggest building in Compton is the courthouse." The big
goddamn Lonzo. Yep.
Okay, that's the biggest business in Compton. Tallest building.
Tall. Yep.
You look up where the courthouse right there.
Wisconsin, implanting microchips in its employees in the skin of their hands. So what are they tracking, and would you say yes if you're homeless? Are you going to do the same? Here's ABC's chief business correspondent, Ben.
Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. I had to rush out of my bed cause I was late for work. My motherfucking rent is due and my boss is a jerk. Pencil pushing at the job, an intermediate clerk. My mama told me to go to school, I'm going bananas berserk. I work every day, don't know where the money goes. My girl is big and pregnant, want me to paint her toes. Only a high school diploma, I'm smelling the aroma. The greenery is burning in my room. But life is a mamacita, she glad to meet ya. She back coming soon. Better get the broom, my nigga, you clean up your house. You got a little more time to back out, cause she ain't your spouse. But do I love her, I need her, maybe respect how I treat her. But when I see my baby, I'ma wanna go and feed her. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. I was born in a space and time where people were stupid. Everybody looking for love, fucking with Cupid. Who did whatever they wanted to do with black fist up, stand to opposition, keeping Hennessy in a cup. Drink, nigga, tell me what you think about God. The Bible is written by man, so people think of facade. Form your own opinion before you listen to white men. The system has got you on American bandstand, and when you get home, you gotta look in the mirror. Take off all the makeup and the wig is more clearer. I fear a day when I can't smoke my weed, or drink my drink, my nigga, you know what I need. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat.
Joining us live this morning from Los Angeles are Spud from the Bloods Gang and Chop from the Crips. And behind them are Said, Chop, and Chop's friend Dave Geary. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Spud, I'm going to start with you first. Explain to us how the whole idea of this truce came about.
Basically, it's just, it just started from after this incident with Rodney King. It just was a time for us to take advantage of this opportunity and just come as one and stop the senseless killing we've been doing, and just unite as one and, give some extracurricular activities to something positive. Unite and do something right for once instead of negative.
Let's talk about that for a moment, Chop. Do you think this is going to work? And by that, I mean, do you think you're going to get total cooperation within these individual gangs?
Yeah, I think it's going to work. Because everybody wanted to work. This is what they've been looking for, and now it's happening, so they better make it work.
What do you think is the incentive for gang members to come together and try to have peace on the streets?
It's something that they wanted to do. That's why all their life they wanted to do it. We just been forced to kill each other because of the white man. White man been influencing us. They figured like we can't kill no white man because if something happened to a white man, we in jail. Anything happened. So we've been killing up each other. So that's the incentive now to get together and fight for another cause. The people that's really hurting us.
What is this cause you're talking about? What is the mission? Spud?
The mission is...
Or Chop, go ahead.
Go ahead, Spud.
That's basically the mission is, you know what I'm saying, let's get fair. If you're going to crack down on drugs and crime, crack down on drugs and crime. Crack down on the ones who's doing the drugs and crime. If the gang members is doing it, do it. But be fair about it. Don't come through just thinking that every man you see walking around with a different color shirt is affiliated with gangs. Just because he want to wear red or blue, they automatically, and he's in a certain neighborhood, which may be highly drug infested. A man can't even walk to a store without being harassed by the police and beat and just treated less than human. All we want is, if you're going to do your job, do it fairly. Treat us like you treat the people in Simi Valley.
Dave, how do you think this is going to change the way the rest of the community, the non-gang members, are going to react to the Bloods and Crips? Are people going to buy this, that there is in fact a new mission? A mission free of violence?
Yes, I believe that other people in the community is going to pick up because they see that we as young black males are trying to do something for our community, and they can't help but hop on the bandwagon and join along with us because we're here to make a stand. It's going to stick.
Chop, one thing a lot of people continue to be troubled by is yesterday you all were handing out pamphlets that declared an open season on the Los Angeles Police Department. Is that basically saying it's not okay to kill innocent bystanders, but it is okay to wipe out a cop?
But see, I gotta say something now. You guys are getting that pamphlet and saying it was us. We was not giving pamphlets out saying kill the police. We're giving pamphlets out saying we need to stop this gang violence. We need to organize something where we focus on something else as far as, getting new jobs, starting businesses, letting black people in gangs and Crips show that we can, do what we want to do. We put our minds together and we go do it. See, you got a lot of people in the media trying to change it around, but that ain't what we're about. We're about unity for the black community, and that's it. That's what we're going out for. We want all the gangs that's out there looking at us right now saying that, hey, we can do it in our hood. Wait, we got some beef with these brothers over here, but you know what I'm saying? It's been going on too long, so we got to stop. You know what I'm saying? We got to start here. We got to start now, and this is the beginning. It's like if you want to get to the top of that step, you got to start at the bottom.
Chop, I just got one very quick last question. Where did that pamphlet come from? Because people have seen it and read it.
I don't know, man. I don't know what you're talking about, really. I don't know no pamphlet. I ain't seen no pamphlet. Is it fair for the police to just kill us because I'm a Blood or he a Crip?
It came from L.A.
So
basically,
does that make us over target?
You're saying
I
the
mean,
pamphlet came from L.A. and not from England?
It came over that way. I mean, we ain't promoting that. We promoting something positive for our area, our community, for all areas, you know what I'm saying, as far as L.A., Compton, Riots, whatever. But we basically in Inglewood, and as far as Inglewood and the Bloods, Center Park, and Crenshaw Mafia, Watergate, Crips, whoever, we just trying to unite for something. Let's apply our efforts to something positive for once instead of negative.
Wow. The question is, how do we bring peace to our community? And I just want to start with peace, the word itself, because it's so vague. We use it, we throw it out there. But from my understanding, peace is void of hostility, meaning that you're in a safe place, you're in a place where you're comfortable. I know the past couple of weeks, maybe going back to the beginning of the year, we had some storms. One particular storm, it was raining real hard, it was lightning. I looked out the window and seen all that, but I was at peace because it didn't impact me physically. I could see it, but I wasn't a part of it. I was at peace with that. I think what we could do collectively, because again, I don't know what we can do, that's my first answer, but I think how we can have an impact on our communities having peace, being in that state of mind, knowing, because there's always been war, there's always been violence, there's always been murder and people who dislike people. I think we have to begin to change our appetite. And I'm saying appetite. So I see this food over here, I don't know what's underneath the pans, but if I have an appetite or if I could smell it, I would desire that based on my appetite. We tend to have an appetite for violence. We tend to have we enjoy it. We go to movie theaters, we download it, we watch it on cable TV, we buy bootleg DVDs of people killing people, hurting people, and we call that entertainment. We like that kind of stuff. So we have to begin to change our appetite, the things that we like. Because right now, being peaceful ain't really attractive to a lot of our people. We need to get to a place where it's okay. It's okay, somebody bumped into you, took your parking space, it's okay. Just allow that to have you that space of peace. Another thing we need to change is our justice system. And I'm not talking about the United States of America, I'm talking about our hood justice system. Because in the United States of America, if you steal my car stereo and the police catch you, you might get probation. If you steal my car stereo and I catch you, you might be dead. Because we have this hood justice that we think that everything needs a response with violence, or you're not hood enough. So we have to begin to change within our communities, because we create the worlds that we live in. So if we want peace, you're right, Skip, we have to bring it. But at some point we have to create it by allowing it to manifest itself in our communities. And this is the last thing I'll say. So one night I was watching something, because I'm kind of corny and I'm old, so I watch Channel 28 sometime. And Channel 28, no disrespect to anybody else who watch it, just look straight ahead and play it off. But look, I watch it sometime. And on one particular night there was something, and usually they show paintings or whatever. But one particular night they was highlighting the dude who make the horses on a merry-go-round. You know, you guys know the merry-go-round, they had the horses. And so the lady's interviewing him, and he's sitting there and he's doing this thing. He got this wood and he's cutting it and he's carving it. And she said, "Oh, this is so amazing." She said, "How do you make that big block of wood become a horse?" He said, "You just take away everything that doesn't look like a horse." And so it showed the finished product. So we have to begin to take away everything that's not peaceful in our community. If it's not peaceful, whether it's the entertainment of violence, take it away. Let's unlike that. Let's delete that. We have to put ourselves in a place where the world that we live in, we created.
B is a special gift. I got Pete out there. I'm gonna get to you, B, but give me back the taco. Give me back the taco for a minute. We're gonna go back this way before I get to them, but what are the barriers to peace in the neighborhood? I know everybody kind of touched on some of them, but I'm going back to that one.
Well, again, I think the barrier is our thinking of what peace is. if peace is, and let me use the hood verbiage, if peace is busterish, meaning that you're a buster if you want peace, then we have to, again, have an understanding that that's a barrier, how we think about one another. Because this, in the gang culture, I've never heard of a non-violent gang member, never in my life, or non-criminal gang member. It's just not conducive to the culture. You got to have a fight, or something have to happen. I know nowadays you can get into a email war or social media war. When I was coming up, I at least thought you had to have a fist fight or shoot somebody, cut somebody. You had to do something. But we have this barrier of our cultures to where we believe that it goes as far as what we were taught as small children. If somebody hit you, hit them back. Hit them back. And if that don't do it,
pick up something and knock a dog.
And if that don't do it, go look under my mattress, and there's something, I bet you he'll never hit you again. So we never got to the place where we had a place where it was resolve this, or, let's fix this in another way other than violence. So that being a barrier, again, we have to create ways to where we can resolve our issues without a means of violence. And I think we got it within institutions, because in the California penal system, there's about 150,000 people in California prison system here. And out of that penal system of 150,000, where people would say those are hardcore criminals and gangbangers and these type of people, did you know that in prison, with all of the 150,000 what people would say are hardcore criminals, more people commit suicide in prison than people actually kill each other. So there's more space for people to actually take advantage of. If you're such a bad person, here's your opportunity. But more people commit suicide, they kill themselves than they would kill someone else. So I believe deep down inside, a person does want that peace, but a lot of times, whether it's peer pressure or you go with what the standard is in your environment, you say, okay, well, this is what we do. This is what I was taught at home. Somebody hit you, hit them back. This is what I was taught in my hood. If somebody hits you, shoot at you, what you return the favor. So we had to, again, create ways and allow those ways to become contagious in our communities, that if it's trendy, let's allow that to be. Because we're part of a trend, at least I am, that started 50 years ago. So Crippin started about 50 years ago. How does a trend go for 50 years? That's incredible. Now that had to be fed into a system or apparatus that says this is okay for some people to say this is cool for 50 years. So we have to again create a different culture and allow those cultures that are productive and make our communities better for ourselves and our next generations, and allow those behaviors to be contagious.
All right, I'll be real brief because Taco got in the pastor mode. This pastor can't get right, you guys. So, but real quick, for me, what I think is that the barrier that I've had. So when I started doing this work, I was getting free food. The pastor was giving me free food to take to my community, and I would show up and I'd open the back of my trunk and be like, "Man, look what I got." And everybody would go through the canned goods and all the pasta, and they would say, "Man, you ain't got no meat. Yeah. You don't have this." And there was an expectation. So then we're doing the water giveaway. Taco decided for ceasefire we was going to do water giveaways about 10, 11 years ago. So I got a truck, and I filled it full of water and put ice on it, and caught the homies where they was drinking and smoking. And I said, I showed up with some water, and once again, I got enough water for everybody in my neighborhood. And they said, "Man, that's what you bring to a barbecue? You bring water? You ain't got no meat?" So what happens is there's an expectation that once I'm a peacemaker, that I'm a provider for the community. So what happens is they want to fish dinner, but they don't want to learn where the pond is. They don't want me to give them a fishing pole. They don't want to learn when is the best time to go fishing. When are you going to show up with the fish? So let's take the fish out of it. When am I going to show up with the peace? So the same people who run and don't want to come and talk to me or whatever, when the shooting starts and when the police come around, I'm the first number they dial. So I got to be okay with that. Once again, I got to be okay with that. That they don't want to promote peace.
They're on Instagram. They got their fingers in the air, they chunking them up, and they arguing with everybody. But then when something happens, they really want peace. They don't want to go to jail. So the barrier is the people that I'm working for, the people that I'm giving my life for. The barrier is them, that they don't know that they need the help that I give. That's the number one barrier. Before I pass the mic, though, I'd be remiss as I'm looking in the audience. I'm looking at Brother Bernard, was sitting here filming. I'm looking at Jeff, who before me has been doing this work. My brother James and also Reggie. Got people, Donnie and others in the room. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that there are other peacemakers in this room, and at least one of them I know for sure has been doing the work way before me. Raise your hand, Jeff. That's Jeff Harmon right there. Act like
Give me that round.
Yes, indeed. Give me a round.
Yeah, give me respect.
Yeah, I like to piggyback off of what Skip just said. You know, about the fishing pole situation. You know, a guy wants you to hand him a whole fish, or do he wants you to show him how to fish? So, with me, the barrier is, I don't know. I'm into this new thing called love today, you know. And love conquers all. Some people don't even want to accept love. Some people don't, man, that's weak, get that shit out of my face. You know, I don't want to hear that love. But you know, if you approach an individual with love, care, they'll see something in you that maybe they never seen an individual before. Because everybody always, people are being used to being approached with aggressiveness and what have you and things. And to me, a barrier is representation of peace, love, and harmony. If you have those tools, I believe unity can be accepted, you know, and that's the bottom line. You know, I'm not really one for words, but these are things that I'm saying from my heart, and that's basically it. My brother. Thank you.
Thank you. We have many barriers out here that's keeping us from creating peace, keeping us from being successful out here, keeping us from having proper education out here. You know, we're just being discriminated against. I want to give you a word. The word is fratricide. The word fratricide means to kill one one's brother and sister. So we have a large fratricide. That's a barrier out here that we're not aware of. You know, our mindset, our culture. You know, like the brothers before me just said, is first to become violent, you know, through anger. You know, it's the lack of that civil communication and understanding. You know, it's the image. That's another barrier. You have to carry this particular image as soon as you walk out your door every day. If you don't have this particular image, you're going to be the next one to be pumped and suckered up and down the street. Don't nobody want that. You don't want to be bullied by no one, so you have to put your makeup on before you go outdoors and have that mean mug, that tough look when you go outside. I like to give you one more word. It's called program. Program. This word it's a slick word that's German used on the Jews. It's a systematic way of eradicating the people. And so that's what's happening out here. We're not, the barrier we're not looking at is who's putting up the barrier. You know, we need to look at who's behind the wall and manipulating our minds to go out here and kill each other. Because, you know, when I started in this thing back in 1971, we originally was supposed to uphold our neighborhood, protect our neighborhood from those that would come in and burglarize, those who would come in and harm our youngsters in our neighborhood. But we got manipulated where we turned into criminals, where we turned into hustlers, where when once upon a time the hustle was a job, but now it's a criminal activity to become to get the way to get your money. So, you know, be aware of what's going on. We have many barriers. Another one of our barriers is oppression. We're being oppressed in our communities. You know, there's enough for all of us out here. You know, out in the rural areas, they have all the resources. But it seems like we all been moved into these cities to be pushed up against each other instead of, you know, like back in the days, you could go next door. You could get some butter. You can get a couple of eggs. You can go next door and eat. But nowadays, you can't even talk to your neighbors next door. Your next door neighbor looking at you all funny, you know, because of division, which is another barrier out here. You know, in the early 1700s, white folks didn't even know they were white. They called each other Englishmen, Welsh, Dutch, Spanish, Italian. But once the Pope allowed the great slave trade in the early 1800s, in 1884, that's when colors came in, and the great slave trade went to Africa and body snatched. I don't call it kidnapping. They body snatched us. We're descendants of slaves. Our ancestors were slaves. So we have more rights in America than anything else. So let's wake up, brothers and sisters out here, if you see this video. Stop hating on that Crip. That's your cousin. Stop hating on that blood. That's your brother. And stop using that word that was used during slavery, that 3-word phrase, where you from. That came from the overseers during slavery. That's what they asked the slaves, where you from. And if you didn't have that note in your hand saying where you from, you'll get strung up on a tree. So that's another barrier we got strung up with. How do we get to where, what's happening, brother? What's happening, sister? And if you're going to be a king and a queen, you got to be a ruler. So start ruling yourself first. Thank you.
I went to public school. What was the question?
What is the barrier? What's the barrier holding us back?
What's the barriers of peace, man?
I went to public school. Well, like we all say, you know, the barriers holding us back. Like I said, it was snuck up on us. And I'm going to just give you just a short brief. Tookie and Jamel was kids when they started this gangbanging stuff. Them dudes was kids. Now here we are 50 years later, grown men, still doing something that some kids started. So when we accept the fact, and I'm really accepting the fact now that everybody ain't gonna get on the bus. The devil got to have his bus full too, so everybody ain't gonna get on the bus, so we gotta accept that. And when you're trying to talk to one of these youngsters, you don't want to talk to them in a group, because you're gonna get, if you got 5 people, one of them gonna be negative, one of them gonna be hard. But I guarantee if you catch any one of them dudes one-on-one, all of them want out. They want out, they just don't know how to ask for out, because like we keep hearing, peer pressure, peer pressure. We've been hearing that forever. No, we finna give it something else. It's stupidity. They on speed, cocaine, and everything else under the sun right now. All the youngsters is getting high under everything under the sun. So like I say, if we still following something that these dudes started when they was kids, man. It's 50 years later, and we still following some kids. That's why they executed Tookie, because he was trying to stop this stuff when he got out here. They didn't execute Charles Manson, they let him die. But you see, that's a whole nother segment, whole nother show. Hello.
Basically, it's a gumbo pot of solutions right here, and everything happens together. If it doesn't go together, it's not going to work. Please understand that. And to add to that gumbo pot is re-education and evolving. I like to look at myself as the evolution of what these brothers started. Before I came to the table, it was so-called gunners, gangbangers, active gang members sitting at tables trying to come up with solutions amongst each other. And by the time I got to the table, it evolved to something that we didn't understand, because we was playing checkers when we sat at the table and not chess. A lot of people strategize when they do things and they think ahead of the game. So we didn't think down the line we was gonna sit down with victims and we victimized. We didn't accept the fact that we was gonna sit down with law enforcement and city officials and be this evolution of change, because your homeboys gotta see that growth. Your homeboys gotta see that education and understand that it's okay for you to go over there and talk to that policeman for a certain reason. For a certain reason, please understand. you have to so-called, befriend your enemy. You have to be friends with those people. Because I have a relationship and I'm okay with the police, I can get a call from my community, from a sergeant and lieutenant, to help me police my own and get at my homeboys before they come over there and just kick up all kind of dust and put my homeboys in jail. I'm okay with that. When my homeboys call me a snitch, I can have a conversation with you and I can educate you, because I remember the time when I went to jail twice and almost had 20 to life because my homeboys told on me. So when my homeboys tell me that I need to be mad at the police, I say, y'all don't want that, because if I turn up, it starts with y'all, because the police came and got me after y'all made the call. The police didn't come get me by themselves. They needed the community, just like we need community to speak up when people murdered on those streets. They need people to help you get in jail too. So when you go to jail, you telling me come out them bushes we caught. So I got a problem with you. If you want me to regulate the police, I'm regulating the homies too. And it's a whole bunch of backstabbing and no honor amongst thieves in these communities. So when I sat down in the prison system, I educated myself after that joke they told me. They said they gonna hide stuff from me and put it in a book. So they said they want to hide it from a black man and put it in a book because we too lazy to pick it up and really study it and understand it. And I just didn't read the words and go through them. I read them and understood them. I dissected them. I opened a dictionary when I didn't understand something, and I went back and reread it. And I did my own rehabilitation in a system that wasn't made to rehabilitate me. And so my consistency became my reality, and that reality brought me to this place where I'm here to be a peace component for these communities that we got to push hard for, and we push hard for the devil, we got to push hard for God. We got to put our life on the line for God. And it's a lot of people that's still in that mindset. We get to a certain area of this peace thing and we get stagnant, we get complacent. We think that we done hit this point. Okay, now next to the next level. Everything is next level. Your whole life is chasing other levels. And when you get to a component where I got a little voice, I pushed a little peace. Now push some more peace. Now go outside your community and push peace. Because we get stagnant when we start thinking, oh, I'm just worrying about my folks, my backyard. Your backyard is affected by everybody around you, so that matters to you too. Because if we push in peace, then we evolve in saying everybody is your family. Not just your community, not just your tribe. And like they taught me, it's a tribe, and your tribe is just a different essence of what we all are as a people. And what we do over here, we cripping and blooding over here. Are we saying cuz over here and you blood over there? I was the only crip in the watch car in the pen at one point around all bloods, and I didn't have no problems because we had a community. We had a watch community pride that we stood on that overrode that crip and blood thing. But then we get out here and the majority rules, and the majority is ignorance. Majority is turning up. Majority is pride and ego. And majority rules at the end of the day. So these barriers we got to get over, re-educate yourself, and learn to evolve and be that bigger person.
Say that. Hey. I'm glad what you pointed out, Skip, that some other people were here. There's a lot of people I wanted to invite, but I know one thing, if we had about 20 people up here, we'd be here all night long. So we do intend to do some more of these panels because I think they're going to be very, very necessary. The other thing too is that when I got done pen in '96, my homeboy, his name is Business. He's doing life. And he said, man, when you get home, tell the homies, man, business is business. I said, what do you mean? He said, you know what? There's 400,000 registered gangs. Anybody good at math in here? Okay, homie, you stick with me. I'm depending on you. He said there's 400,000 registered gang members. He said even a crackhead got $1. He said suppose all 400,000 drop down $1 in one day. He said, how much is that at the end of the week? I need that answer, bro. He said, how much is that at the end of a month?
2.8 million.
How much is that at the end of the year? He said, we are our own problem. We don't need no welfare. We don't need no social security. We need to come together. He said, ain't that what you fighting about? He said, he said, how can you make money selling dope, looking over your shoulder for a rival gang member, and looking over the other shoulder for the police, and then you got a snitch. How you gonna make some money? Peace is good for us. It's just that simple.
Say that.
It's good for us. It's good for business. It's good for business. Now, the only way I'm not gonna give you my dollar is because I don't trust you. That's why I got this panel. Everybody here can be trusted. And let's put together some trustworthy people who have got over the greed and the selfishness and the envy and the jealousy. We ain't gonna be able to get nothing done.